Greetings! MantaRay79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. Now in today's video, the deck profile we're going to be making one for is a D standard formats, Dragon Empires, Dragonic Overlord with cards from D-BT11. Alrighty, let's get started. First up, the right deck. And now for the right deck. For the cards in this right deck, we are playing 1 Grade 0 Lizard Runner Undo, 1 Grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar, 1 Grade 2 Dragonite Nehalem, and 1 Grade 3 Titleist Dragon Musashi Armor. The Grade 0 starting unit, Lizard Runner Undo, skill auto. When this unit is rolled upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Undo, it's the starting unit of this deck, like any other starting unit in the D standard format. It features the same skill and activation. When reading the top of, while you're the second to go in the game, draw a card. The Grade 1 Embodiment of Armor Bar, skills for skill auto. When this unit is rolled upon by Dragonite Nehalem, cost counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, search your deck for up to 1 Grade 1 card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto as a rear guard once per turn. When your Vanguard's attack hits, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Bar, it's the main Grade 1 to ride this deck. With its skill, the first skill, just by riding Dragonite Nehalem on top of him, by paying the cost, you can search your deck for any Grade 1 card to add to your hand to later help you in your later game strategy. Any second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, your Embodiment of Armor Bar can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for the front row or 13,000 point booster for the back row. The Grade 2 Dragonite Nehalem, skills for skill auto. When this unit is rolled upon by a unit of Overlord in its card name, it calls this card to the rear guard circle. Second skill, action as a rear guard once per turn. If you have a Vanguard of Overlord in its card name, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, this unit and all of your Vanguards get plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Nehalem, it's the main Grade 2 to ride his deck. With its skills, the first skill, just by riding Overlord on top of him, you can superior call Nehalem from soul to rear guard to serve as a potential front row attacker or a rear guard whose skill you wish to make use of later on. Any second skill, as long as the conditions of the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can not only turn your Nehalem into a potential 15,000 point attacker for the front row, but also add up more power to your Vanguard to make it easier to pressure and finish off your opponent with. The Grade 3 Titleist Dragon Musashi Armor, skill continuous. The normal ride from hand on this unit by a unit with different card name is regarded as a Persona Ride 2. So for Musashi Armor, it's the main Grade 3 to ride his deck. With its skill, just by running a different card than Musashi Armor from hand to your Vanguard, it can count as a Persona Ride. So any card, Grade 3 card which you ride on top of Musashi Armor is automatically counted as a Persona Ride, giving you power and extra cards to make use of. And with that, we just about covered the deck's right deck. Next, let's get on to the Grade 1 lineup. And now for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing 4 Grade 1 Armed Wing Dragon, 3 Grade 1 Twin Buckler Dragon, and 1 Blitz Order Elementaria Sanctitude. The Grade 1 Armed Wing Dragon, skills for skill continuous as a rear guard. If your Vanguard is placed by riding from a unit with Musashi Armor in its card name, and you Persona roll this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed in the rear guard circle, if you have a card with Musashi Armor in its card name on your Vanguard or in your soul, cost counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, draw a card. So for Armed Wing Dragon, it's a support card for the Musashi Armor. If it's skill, the first skill, as long as the conditions of the first skill are met, your Armed Wing can serve as a potential 18,000 point attacker for the front row or 18,000 point booster for the back row. And second skill, just by calling Armed Wing onto the rear guard while the conditions of its second skill are met. By paying the cost, you can then draw one card, giving you more cards in your hand to make use of. The Great One, Twin Buckler Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard. Skills: first skill, Continuous Sentinel. Second skill, Auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 more cards, choose a card from your hand, discard it. Silver Twin Buckler Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding one card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all these standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Twin Buckler a potential no-cost perfect guard against opponents in desperate last resort situations. And the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude. Skills: first skill, Continuous Sentinel. Second skill, Continuous. You may only have 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in the deck. Third skill, if your opponent's Vanguard is triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Place if it costs of, discard a card from your hand. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or less, if the cost is paid, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until end of battle, remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When activated and paying the cost of discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block 1 enemy attack. But ideally, Elementaria Sanctitude is best used against opponents who play Vanguards of triple drive, for example, Grade 4s or Vanguards to increase their drive checks by skill or card effect. Against such opponents, your Elementaria Sanctitude can then serve as a potential no-cost perfect guard. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 1 lineup. Now, let's get on with the Grade 2 lineup. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s of this deck, we are playing 2 Grade 2 Dragonite Nehalem, 4 Grade 2 Alder Hatchet Dragon, 4 Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon, and 4 Grade 2 Steel Bull of Duststorm Ethan. The Grade 2 Dragonite Nehalem. Since we already explained this card's skills and effects during the ride deck portion of the video, let's just skip on ahead to the next card. The Grade 2 Alder Hatchet Dragon. Skills: first skill, Continuous as a Guardian. If your soul has a card of Overlord in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. Second skill, Action as a rear guard. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, choose a grade 3 card of Overlord in its card name from your drop zone, put into your soul. So for Alder Hatchet Dragon, it's a support card for the Overlord series. If its skill is the first skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the first skill are met, your Alder Hatchet Dragon can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. Second skill, when using its skill while the conditions of the skill are met, you can search your drop zone for a grade 3 Overlord to add to your soul, giving you a card to either stock up your soul for later Soul Blast or to activate the end's skills that require another Overlord in the soul with. The Grade 2 Burning Horn Dragon. Skills: first skill, Auto. When this unit is placed in the rearguard circle, cost, Counterblast 1. If the cost is paid, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card of Overlord in this card name, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. If you do not reveal a card, countercharge 1. Second skill, Auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard of Overlord in this card name attacks, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Horn Dragon, it's another support card for the Overlord series. If its skill is the first skill, just by calling Burning Horn to the rear guard and paying the cost, you have the chance to trade the top 7 cards of your deck for an Overlord to add to your hand to either ride with, call with, or any other reason you wish to have an Overlord in your hand to make use of. And the best part is, the first skill is refundable. On the off chance you fail to get any cards of the first skill, you can then countercharge 1, thus refunding the counterblast used for the first skill. And second skill, just by having Burning Horn on your rear guard while your Vanguard Overlord attacks, you can add power to Burning Horn. And the best part about this second skill, it's stackable. For the Dragonic Overlord series, specializes in restanding and attacking multiple times your Vanguard. So as long as you can manage to attack multiple times your Vanguard Overlord, you'll be able to keep stacking 5,000 power and more onto your rear guard Burning Horn Dragon. The grade 2, Steel Bull of Duststorm, Ethan, skill, auto as a rear guard. When your Vanguard's attack hits, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, draw a card and countercharge 1. So for Ethan, it's a pretty good card to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks with its skill. Whenever your Vanguard lands a successful attack on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard, by paying the cost, you can then not only restock your hand of more cards, but to also refund your counterblast for later skills. So ideally, in my opinion, Ethan is like the improved version of the Great One Dragon Monk Gojo, for unlike Gojo, who can only activate his countercharge skill by boosting a successful attack from the Vanguard. With Ethan, he only has to be in the rear guard when your Vanguard lands an attack, making Ethan more flexible to use than Gojo, and also unlike Gojo, who can only let you countercharge 1, Ethan lets you draw and countercharge. He became more useful to have, in my opinion. And with that, which is about cover the deck's grade 2 lineup, now let's get on to the grade 3 lineup. And now for the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 3s of this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 3, Titleist Dragon, Musashi Armor. 3. Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord. And 4. Grade 3, Dragonic Overlord, The End. The grade 3, Titleist Dragon, Musashi Armor. Since we already explained this card's skills and effects in the right deck portion of the video, let's skip ahead to the next card. The grade 3, Dragonic Overlord. Skills for skill, continuous as a Vanguard rear guard. During the battle, this unit attacked a rear guard. Your opponent cannot call cards from their hand to Guardian Circle. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard, once per turn. When this unit attack hits, cost counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord, it's one of the main grade 3s around this deck. The skill, the first skill, just by having your Overlord attack an opponent's rear guard, your opponent more or less cannot defend against it with cards from your hand, making it easier to combo the second skill of Overlord, which is after landing a successful attack on either an opponent's Vanguard or rear guard. By paying the cost, you can restand your Vanguard Overlord for another attack. The grade 3, Dragonic Overlord, The End. Skills for skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, if your soul has a Dragonic Overlord, this unit's drive cannot be decreased from card effects and it gets plus 5,000 power. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard, once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit is attacked. Cost, counterblast 1 and discard 2 cards in your hand. If the cost is paid, stand this unit and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. So for Dragonic Overlord, The End, it's one of the other main grade 3s around his deck. The skill is the first skill. Just by more or less fulfilling the conditions of the first skill, not only do you get to prevent The End's drive checks from being reduced by card effects, but also give The End more power, making it a potential 18,000 point attacker for the front row. And second skill, after attacking, by paying the cost, you can restand your Overlord The End for another attack. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on to the trigger lineup. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 0, Dragon DD King of Resurgence, Drag Vita, Over Trigger. 4. Grade 0, Burning Flail Dragon, Critical Trigger. 4. Grade 0, Stealth Dragon, Madowazu, Critical Trigger. 3. Grade 0, Flare Veil Dragon, Draw Trigger. 2. Stealth Fiend, Amavira, Heal Trigger. And 2. Grade 0, Cure Flare Draco Kid, Heal Trigger. The grade 0, Dragon DD King of Resurgence, Drag Vita, Over Trigger. Skill, trigger, additional effect, choose one of your Vanguards, and stand it. So for Drag Vita, it's a over trigger for the Dragon Empire Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, You can get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features an ability unique to it alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. The Grade 0, Burning Flail Dragon, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2000 power until end of turn. So for Burning Flail Dragon, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, after boosting the attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Burning Flail from your rear guard into your soul, not only can you build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also give your remaining attackers in the field, Vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. The Grade 0, Flare Veil Dragon, draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5000 shield. So for Flare Veil Dragon, a powerful draw trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of its skill are met, you can turn your Flare Veil Dragon into a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. The Grade 0, Stealth Fiend Amavira, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Active if it's battle in this second attack this turn or more. So for Amavira, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, you can turn your Amavira into a potential 25,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Amavira is a counter heal, best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding and attacking multiple times their units, either Vanguard or rear guard. And the Grade 0, Pure Flare Draco Kit, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Cure Flare Draco Kit, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Dragon Empire Nation decks. For its skill, when used to guard with while the conditions of its skill are met, you can turn Cure Flare Draco Kit into a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. Ideally, Cure Flare is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical, either their Vanguard or rear guard, by skill or card effect. And with that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers we are playing in this deck, we are playing 1 over trigger, 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And now, after having just explained the deck's build and card effects, next let's get on to explaining the deck's main playstyle. So for the main playstyle of this deck, first you just ride normally from your ride line from Grade 0 to 3. Then after riding Musashi Armors or Grade 3, in your next turn, try to ride at least 1 Dragonic Overlord at the end. Then make use of Alder Hatchet's skill to deploy a Dragonic Overlord from your drop zone to the soul. Then on your rear guard, try to call 1 or 2 copies of Armwing Dragon and any other Grade 2 rear guard you wish to have in your front row. Then with Musashi Armor written on top of on that turn, you can make use of Armwing Dragon skills to let you add more power to Armwing, making your more or less your overall attacks more powerful and more likely to hit. So again, that's the main playstyle of this deck. Just ride normally to Grade 3 Musashi Armor, cross ride to Dragonic Overlord at the end, use Alder Hatchet's skill to add Overlord to the soul, and then try to secure at least 1 or 2 armed wings on your rear guards to get a huge power boost. And yep, that's pretty much it. That's the main playstyle of this deck. And of that, that's just all the time we have for today. First, I want to say is thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. And I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And of that, I say goodbye and see you all.